I'm Quent.
I'm Aron. Yeah, look, it's hard, okay? Things happen.
And together, we're Quent Aron.
We're queering. We're not queering at all. Ever. Now look, my eyeglasses are still sunglasses. I'm gonna act like I'm trying to be cool.
You had all this time and you didn't fix it.
I also had 2 different earrings on before and didn't notice. Is anyone shocked by this turn of events? I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
Well, part 4 of our difficult characters to write segments. And this time we are talking about a character nobody has seen yet, named Amelia Johansen.
Or Johansen. But Amelia is actually going to end up being with Fletcher.
Yes.
And is developed pretty much for him.
Amelia, has been developed as Fletcher's female counterpart.
But that is to not say that she's Fletcher. I think that's a problem with a lot of writing. When they try to match up characters, they match them up with people who are just like them. And in reality, that doesn't work. If you are too similar, you will kill the other person.
It's also boring.
And it's predictable, and it's not real, it's not genuine. And Amelia has a very different life path than Fletcher. And to develop her, the first question we asked was, who would get involved with Fletcher?
Yes. Who would get involved with the crazy person?
Whose best friends are on the run.
Yes.
And is involved in some sort of shady-ass government stuff and disappears for months at a time and can't tell you why or where he's been and what he's doing or where that bullet hole came from. Yeah. So, who do you go to? And that's where Amelia came. And the question would be, what does Fletcher have that a woman would need, or any significant other would need?
Or stick around for.
Yeah.
Like, she has to get something out of this relationship, too.
Yeah. And in this case, the one thing that Fletcher has in spades is a good understanding of people.
Mm-hmm. He's also genuine, which is something that Amelia is not familiar with. But she seeks out.
And he tells the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He's not good at lying, so he may not tell you what he's doing, but he's not going to lie to you about it, which Chance will do with abandon and joy. And
the bigger the story, the better the lie.
Oh, yeah. But I think what Amelia really gets out of this is someone who not only tells her the truth, but it's someone who sees her for exactly who and what she is and loves her for that and believes in her in a way that she's never experienced before. Amelia is loosely based on several different pop culture heiresses you may see, both male and female, really. People who are born into extreme wealth and privilege, and in an era where everything is out there, photographs, your life, Instagram, you tweet everything, all of your mistakes, all of the awkward years are there on film for people to look up to. And in her case, her family wealth, and her dad being an agent, a very, very well-known film producer and agent, makes her a target for a lot of people who want to use her for her connections. And no one's ever really genuine with her. And her mother's main emphasis was on beauty and using what you have and getting what you need out of other people.
It's not even what you need. At that point, it's what you want.
Yeah, well, I think her mother very much confuses need and want as the same thing, because she really, on your basic hierarchy of needs, she has food, shelter, money, privilege, wild vacations, horses, cars, furs, you name it. She has everything she wants and nothing she needs. She needs someone to show her she has value that goes beyond her cup size, that goes beyond one outrageous stunt she pulled to get likes and views. And she's in a world where that is completely alien. And her mother's like, you don't have to worry about school and about all that crap. You need popularity and power. And there's no acknowledging the fact that there's an intelligent, feeling, creative person inside of this shell of beauty and perfection that is impossible for anyone to live up and anyone really have. But she's grown up in a place where people think that's real. And the only one who ever sees her as smart and special and awesome is her brother, who has actually has Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, which is a inherited birth disorder in males, and you usually don't live past your mid-20s. It's a slow degeneration of your body. And I think even when she, you get to 16, 17, 18 in Hollywood or anywhere, and you have all of this money and all of this time, and her dad is too busy doing his own thing and sees her, I'm sure the relationship with the mom is strained too, but she's just doing what kids do, and he'll bail her out when she needs it. And really, what do you expect? She's just a pretty blonde.
Yeah.
And her mother is like, well, it was dumb, but you just made popular votes, and now you probably should go to rehab, because I hear tell that Kim Kardashian, one of the Kardashians, is coming. It would be nothing about what's best for her, or that she is something past an image. She has everything Chance wants. Everything Chance thinks he wants.
Everything he thinks he wants.
Yeah. She has it in spades, and Chance has everything she needs.
Mm-hmm.
Faith, loyalty, family, someone to believe in. And when her brother dies, she really gets lost. And she ends up pretty heavily into the ugly side of the glamorous life, which is, drugs and partying and unsafe activities, sex, you name it. It's all been
that
there.
high-risk lifestyle.
Oh, the highest risk of all, like Chance, except Chance has a bottom to hit because he runs out of money.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
Yep.
They just keep giving her more and more money, and she keeps making more and worse decisions until finally she has a moment of clarity where, in a scene that I haven't even imagined yet, where she fully realizes that she's going to die. And there's really not a person left alive who gives a shit. It would make for some popular views and some RIP, rest in peace, gone too soon on Twitter and Twitch, and no one would care. And if she dies, who's going to remember her brother? And I think for the first time in her life, she doesn't take money from her family, and she goes to a rehab on her own. And she gets her shit together and disappears out of that spotlight and disappears from the family.
Oh.
But Amelia, getting back before I lose my train of thought, which is like 30 seconds window, she does go to rehab. She actually does change her life, and she disappears out of this
public view.
Yeah, this glamorous lifestyle that was anything but glamorous, and becomes a photographer. And she has enough money left in her trust fund that she can live happily, and she has no contact with people outside of that. And she happens upon Chance and Fletcher while they are having a moment on a beach where things are really bad for them. And the thing that Chance and Fletcher do so well is have these incredibly raw, intimate moments that are real and true. And I think people read it as homoerotic, where it's not. I mean, all four homoerotic, different genre than what these two characters are. Although we do have some other ones you'll meet later, but off track again. She happens to capture this moment of intimacy, because even across the beach at sunset, she can realize that what's going on here is
it's personal and it's private.
Genuine.
And it's genuine, and she captures it, and she knows that she can't keep it. Because it's not hers, and it's not for public view.
And I think there's something in that photo and that she sees with that artistic eye that is what she needs. And I think in a way that Wolf intrigues Emery to the point of madness. Someone, two men, two really good looking men, who have that level of connection and truth, and they're willing to show it in a public venue is so different than all the posturing and flexing and drip that she grew up with, that she wants to know a little bit more about it. And that's where I get stuck, is I can introduce them, and Fletcher will be as open and honest as Fletcher is always, but at this point I think he's pretty much decided that love and relationships aren't happening for him. And Amelia's kind of going to have to be the one who...
Well, So this is where we come at things in very opposite directions, because all of that backstory, that's all her. I was like, hey, I picked a name. Let's throw them in a scene. We'll see how this goes.
I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm pretty sure she's Persian too, so Johansen might have to be like in a stage name or something.
It can be her changed name so that she gets out of the public view. She's
True.
a little bit harder to find. We did that because Amelia Earhart, that was why we picked Amelia. I don't know why we picked Johansen.
I think we have trouble coming up with names, so we were like, we don't have one with a J.
That actually might be it. There's too many C's already.
I need something I can spell. Could we make it Jones? No?
Yeah.
Fun fact, can't spell.
But yeah, we come at character development in two very different ways. But Aron does 3 days worth of research in this big life story to get into a character frame of mind, and I'm like, we have a name, we have a scene setting, and go. And I will figure out the character from there.
I have such trouble doing that.
Yes.
I want to think about them forever.
Yes.
And then it would sit
Yes,
in a room
you do.
and never talk or do anything.
We need to just play them. They will tell us who they are.
That'll end up being a great story.
Which we've done a little bit of. We've done a tiny bit of introducing Amelia to Fletcher and Chance, and then a couple follow-ups. But largely, Amelia has been unexplored because
Fletcher's been unexplored.
Fletcher's been largely unexplored. And then we also have her meeting Fletcher at a point in time that is not... It's largely brainstormed. And there's a lot of, like, little scenes here and there, but there's not, like, a full-on book that she's incorporated into, which has made her a little untenable.
Well, I think she becomes the only friend he has who's a female outside of the team. And I think it has to be kind of a slow progression of...
Which we have.
But we don't see it.
But it's there.
But it's not. It's here.
Which is
and
there.
my here is different than your here, because mine's on fire and yours is cooling. So it's how do we get her onto paper and interacting with him, and how do we get him to interact with her? And then we end up in a hotel room talking about it. Not filming porn.
On
Thank
film.
you very much. Although with these hairdos they may, I think.
Yes. So, Amelia is one of the most difficult characters because not only is she difficult, we haven't really explored her yet.
And she's interacting with a difficult character.
She's interacting with a difficult character, and her introduction is in a difficult time that's largely unexplored.
And it is a slow intro.
It is. And she's not a main character, which means that she doesn't really get to demand a whole lot of scene time.
But I think we have to have some behind the scene times.
Oh, there's tons of behind
where
the
we
scene
write
time
scenes
for
that we
everything.
then put up there and figure out
Yeah.
the fuck are they doing, because she does end up having some important side roles there.
She does, and like all of the female characters turn into much of like a balancing axis for the guys, as as they mature and as their roles in life change and as they age, like, they become almost less codependent on each other because they finally get some stability outside of the team.
Well, and yeah, and it's always going to be team. But much like families, team widens into different levels and places and priorities. And as they mature, those relationships mature too. But it's bothering me. We're just perfect. Hang on, let me just take care of this. Nope, wrong side. Okay, this one. Better.
What do we do? Back to back?
Yeah, so. It's pretty good, I'm just
done
saying.
with this.
Saying we're done with that. So we have that on paper. We know we need scenes. Getting them into scenes is tough because Fletcher doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to get involved.
Because he's been burned.
Oh, he's been burned good. He doesn't want her to have to lose fingers.
Maybe just don't ever introduce her to Emery.
I don't think he knows that.
I don't think he does, because he went cray-cray.
I don't think anybody has to. Well, I think everybody else knows. I don't think he would ever think to ask, hey, did
you by any chance mutilate my ex-girlfriend? Probably doesn't cross his mind.
I would hardly call her a girlfriend. If you mean the sea harpy who used you and tried to destroy my family, why, yes.
Why, hello, Emery.
Yes, we have to have a little chat.
Yeah.
You don't fuck with what's mine.
Chance was just going to kill her.
That would not solve the problem because you'd be in jail and Fletcher would still end up dead.
Yeah, he doesn't think about the jail part.
He doesn't think about any consequences.
You know,
Emery's very focused on that.
Always very surprised by consequences.
And Emery's like, no, seriously. Like, I need Dex and the car.
There's a cop car right there.
Give me Dex, the car, and a medical kit. In 3 hours, and I will take care of this problem. And Chance's like, you can't. No, you can't. I can't.
They tranked Chance. He's not really aware.
Well, he was, and they had to trank him because he
Yes.
didn't trust Emery
Yes.
on this, which was his first mistake. Emery does take care of the problem, and pays the price for having to do that too. Which there is no price. There's always a price. But that's not going to be something that happens to Amelia, God willing. Because you never know when you start writing them, but getting her to that point is a trick. And I know you're like, oh, we can write her, but where? Where do we start this?
Well, we already have them meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We already have them in his apartment.
We have them being friends for a long, long, long time, but we haven't seen that or what that feels like or how that goes.
They were going to go to the carnival.
Skeet ball.
Uh-huh.
Fletcher can tell you skeet ball takes care of everything.
Yes.
And
Except
Chance is
Charlie.
really... No, skeet ball got him Charlie. Emery and Wolf killed Charlie. And he was sacrificed. It's in a horrible, brutal, viral way. No one saw that coming.
Yeah. We will get that edited and put that story up on our website, which there's a link in the YouTube thing. There's also this whole subscribe crap that everybody else does that we're really bad at. It's there too.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think there's 2 of you out there, so
yeah.
If you wanted, that'd be cool. If not, we're still going to keep talking.
But we do have a website that has more about characters and ourselves, which actually probably this is a little more revealing than the website about us. Yeah, you gotta cover those things up.
Put those away. I often keep flannel in Vegas when it's 103. Safer that way.
Yeah.
Suck. We suck. Yeah. So you have the hole, you have the spot, and she's really probably the one we're developing the most because we have the least on her. So if you want to watch a two-character possession, A two-character story. Love to love. Marriage to marriage.
Just gonna let you finish up there.
You want to watch a real-time character transformation and development. Amelia would be the one to follow, and we would have to actually write more so you could follow that. Because right now it's just a few steps and then off a cliff.
There's not even an explosion. That takes more writing. There's just
Just an endless. Still falling, yeah.
Still here, guys.
Like the picture you leave on your phone.
Can you write me a little bit more?
Literally hanging in midair here. Help me. So, yeah, we'll have to do that. But we do have a start and an end point, and then she gets to fill in all the details. Maybe she'll have one shoulder higher than the other.
She
and
probably does.
A crooked head.
She might have scoliosis from a dirt bike accident.
Crooked head. Oh, it was not a dirt bike accident. It was a yacht accident. We're having simply the most splendid time. We were
At a
in the
gala.
Maldives.
Mm-hmm.
The Maldives, you've been, right?
Maldives.
Simply wonderful there. The water was so blue. And we were doing some cocaine and heroin because you got to balance that out.
Speedball up.
And they're like, just jump off the top. I'm like, that's fine. Daddy's yacht at home. We do this all the time. I forgot that this one was 180 feet high and not the 26 feet of Daddy's, which, don't mention that to him. It's a very sore subject that his is smaller than others. And I hit wrong. And everybody laughed so hard and put it on YouTube. But it was lucky that the crew happened to notice that I was struggling and they pulled me out because broke both my collarbones. It's very difficult.
It's fun being like this.
Very difficult to do your own hair. Can't get your arms up. It's like living like a T-Rex.
Yes. So yeah, the few scenes that we've played with Amelia, she is very genuine, and she's open, which is it's completely opposite of all the other characters that I play.
Well, except for maybe Sam, but it's a different
Yeah,
type
but I don't
of,
play Sam.
It's a different type of genuineness and openness. Sam has that in spite of her child bringing, like there was a lot of neglect, but Sam has that strong sense of self.
Yeah, one of our beta readers had a really great description of the differences between Cruiser and Sam, and it was that they both come from very abusive backgrounds, but Cruiser chooses to focus on the negative
Of his childhood.
And Sam focuses on the positive of her childhood, and that forms their whole view of the world and how, like, the filter that they see everything through.
And I think Amelia survived her childhood, which took out a lot of her friends and up, dead, overdosed.
She didn't
car
have
accident.
the same worries of, is her father going to hit her? Is she going to have another meal? Is she going to, like, actually be enrolled in school? Or does she just learn how to ferment kombucha?
Does she have a name?
Yeah, does she have a name? Those were not her worries. The worries came with approval, with, fitting in with the right people,
Self-worth.
with popularity, self-worth, self-esteem, all of that stuff.
And how nothing is real.
Yeah.
No one really cares.
And all the priorities being put on
The looks.
Yeah, the most fake stuff.
And, not looking into the surface of the real people and how that life just chews people up and spits them out. And she sees it when we meet her from the perspective of a survivor who's been through the grinder and come out the other side and sees both the good and the bad and has learned to make peace with herself and to love and respect herself. And it was a hard-fought battle as opposed to Sam, who just does.
Yes, which is actually another point with the differences between Amelia and Fletcher. Fletcher loves himself, and he's very true to himself, where Amelia is in a process of discovery of who she actually is and learning to love that person.
Oh, Fletcher knows himself, and it terrifies him because there is a level of anger and survival in him that, combined with a loose grip on reality, is something that he never wants to let loose again. And Amelia does not have that worry or that struggle, but she has the struggle. Her demon is more, you're worth the effort it takes to not take that hit.
Yeah.
You know, we laugh and joke about like the drugs and all that, but we see drug addiction on a daily basis, and you build up a bit of a callus to it, but it is something that is incredibly serious, and you don't see a lot of people or characters who have come out on the other side of it. So for that, I kind of like having them there and trying to present a relative picture of what it takes to come through that.
Well, it takes work.
It takes work, and it takes a lot of self-reflection,
and determination.
Chance is not good at. Determination, and it takes
Chance
knowing.
is really not good at it, and that comes to bite him in the ass eventually.
And it takes knowing you are worth it.
And it takes admitting that you're an addict, Chance. We're just not going to talk about that.
Admitting you have a problem, that you're self-medicating, and you need to address that problem. And Amelia is able to do that when she's taken out of that environment. But another little play that comes into this relationship is you have someone who is living a rather clandestine lifestyle with mental health issues and friends who are all on the run from the law, if not dead, and someone who still has
the paparazzi photographing you.
She has kept a very, very low profile, but if there's a little reflection in 10 years ago today, or whatever became of, there's a major problem here, because this is a bad combination, but it's a real one. So that will have to be addressed at some point too, because Fletcher will not take the paparazzi pushing her around well in any way, shape, or form. And I think she's never had anyone fight for her or stand up for her other than her brother, who physically couldn't stick around to keep doing that. So we gave her a real backstory and a real place to go, but getting her there. You mean you don't have 3 notebooks full of a backstory for a character that you've shown once?
I have a scene set ready to go. It took me 30 seconds. Here, Fletcher, over here, sitting on a chair. I'm just going to have Amelia see him and be like, oh, you look interesting. Hi. Go. Wait. I need 3 notebooks of backstory before I can say hi back.
Miss Amelia, why is she here? Why is she talking to him? What's her motivation?
No, I'm Amelia.
Yeah, what's your understanding of motivation
You don't need
here?
to know anything about Amelia. You need to know about Fletcher. I need to know about Amelia. I'll figure that out.
Fletcher's like, yeah, no.
Chance Emery.
Emery's like, no.
It's like, whoa, Chance is just, we can do that.
Chance is like, hey, there's a girl talking to you. Go talk to her. And Emery's like, I don't need your fingerprints. A DNA swab. And a list of references.
Yeah, okay, so none of that for Chance, because, ooh, fingerprints, ink.
She doesn't have to fingerprint Chance. She already knows him. She knows more about him than he knows.
Yes, he does. Yeah, mostly because he doesn't remember a lot of himself.
Would anyone just ask? Cruiser never thought to ask either. How do you know my dad's alive? Well, how do you not know?
What do you mean my dad's alive?
I mean, like he's not dead? How do you know this? How do you not know this?
Still appreciate that he's like, we need to stop talking about this. Like, I can't deal with this right now. For all of his faults, Cruiser will absolutely tell you when he cannot deal with something.
And Emery oddly will respect that.
Yes.
She is just like, what did I do wrong? What? Is it?
I remember writing that, and I was like, did you just say his dad was alive? She's like, yeah, I think so. I was like,
how do you know this? How do you not know? Who doesn't know that?
We said his dad died. He doesn't know his dad's alive. It's like, what do you mean my dad's alive?
We mean you thought he was dead.
Oh, I don't know. Car wreck that put everybody in the hospital and then he went to foster care?
Yeah, because your dad ran from the hospital because he's a dick and has a rap sheet 20 miles long.
And this.
And he actually tried to kill your mother by pulling that wheel into traffic.
This is why backstory versus in the moment.
Well, we did get a very real reaction out of that. So I don't know.
Oh, we can't talk about that right now.
I don't think you have a choice.
I do.
We can go on.
Good luck pulling up those granny panties.
Really? I believe you're the one missing an arm. How'd it feel when I cinched that down? Did it hurt? How would it feel if I just reached over and did that right now?
Okay. For clarification, this scene takes place after they got into it with a bunch of bikers.
They did not get into it. Cruiser got into it. All she said was, keep the guards occupied. Just go talk to them.
She said, go talk to them.
Go talk
after
to them.
she failed to talk to them.
Oh, no, she talked to them just fine. They just ignored her, so she had to go to plan B.
She said, go talk to them.
Just go talk to them. Talk to them.
And every time I read that scene, not once does it cross his mind to actually talk nicely. He talks. He just insults them.
Until they start a fight.
In very creative ways. And then it starts a fight, and he's like, I was stalling.
I didn't want you to stall. I wanted you to talk to them.
To stall?
No, to talk. 2 words. To talk. 3 words.
Fast
Talk
forward,
to them.
And then they're not happy with them, so they track them down.
Talk to them.
And Cruiser winds up with a broken arm and a swollen up knee. I think we broke it.
We broke it. Yeah, I don't know. We had to cinch that sucker down.
Yes, Chance gets the dislocated shoulder. And then they wind up having to run through the desert for their lives.
Yes, because redheads, pasty white redheads in the desert do so well without sunscreen. What a great plan.
There was no plan.
Talk to them.
They're going to kill us in the hotel room. We need to go out the window.
First of all, motel.
What?
Shaped like little teepees. My God, what have I become? Second of all,
then
talk to them.
But
I had to shoot
fists.
a jukebox. No, I had to shoot the jukebox because of you. Perfectly good Wurlitzer.
And then
this is what I have to deal with.
Oh, yeah, she has sunburned feet because desert, pasty pale desert, and impractical heels.
No, they were sandals. They were not heels, and we were not supposed to be in the desert. But somebody shot their mouth off instead of just talking. Talk to them. Somebody had a. This guy's literally the size of a mountain. Let's punch him. Let's punch him.
And then Cruiser has to help her walk to the bathroom, in which case she has granny panties on. Only
Lucky
practical
she has anything
thing she has on.
I don't even think they're hers. I think they're those disposable kind you get that fit over cars. Like after you give birth and they come up to your neck. You can slip your arms through them and wear them like a jumper. I mean, not that I've done that. But, yes, and Emery, fun fact, does not handle narcotics well in any way, shape, or form. She would never take it for fun.
You want Emery to tell the truth, give her a bunch of narcs. Yeah. Not even a bunch, a little.
Yeah, truth serum, no problem. Narcotics are a problem. Her lips just start flapping.
Oh, your dad's alive. What?
Which she didn't think was a secret, but she never talks about any of their past that she knows up and down because they never ask. It's not hers to tell. But he happened to say something about his dad, and he was like, my dad was like, your dad is a dick. I know, I've met him. He's like, wait, what?
No.
He's alive?
What?
How do you know he's alive? How do you not?
And then what does Cruiser do? He ignores it.
Continues the mission.
Not dealing with that.
No, pretend like that never happened. But, yeah, they just talk to them. All would have been avoided if you just talked to them, and I could have talked to my contact, and we'd be all done. But no. And of course, you're mad at me for wearing sandals. That makes perfect sense.
We have to write the scene where he shoves her out of a plane.
She's not bad at writing that scene. I have a scene where the plane is going down. Fletcher's the pilot. He comes out with a parachute. He's like, and everybody's like, I'm not really a fan of heights, and I don't know how to shoot. I'm sure we can make this work. And Fletcher's like, nope, got a second fire. We are going to have to bail out. But let's talk about this. Let's plan.
Emery
And Wolf
is
is
arguing.
just strapping her. She's not arguing. She's trying to backpedal.
She's flapping her gums, not getting ready to jump, and
Wolf
Cruiser
is getting
goes
her jump.
poof out the plane.
Wolf is like locking her in. She's like, no, really, and before we don't have to. And Cruiser would never think.
He thinks she knows how to jump.
When would Emery ever have jumped out of a plane?
He thinks she's just being a pain in the ass.
And when does he think she went to jump school?
I don't know. When did she go to mercenary training? Because she does it all the time.
She never went to mercenary training.
Right.
So
I mean, she does it all the time.
She was kidnapped by a crazed despot and tried to use
They
it for a plan.
train for parachutes. They train for all kinds of things.
Really? You were there. Did you see any planes? Did you know what they don't train you for? Parachute jumping.
He does not for a second.
They train you for parties.
He doesn't for a second think that she does not know how to parachute. So then Wolf has to jump out the plane to go save her because she doesn't know what she's doing, and he was going to jump tandem. And then when Cruiser lands, he's all, well, I don't know why you'd wear a dress anyway.
Because the mission was at a ballroom, and I'm a girl.
So impractical.
And I don't have a penis to encase
Who
in
jumps
pants.
out of a plane in a dress?
That's why I didn't want to jump out of the plane. That and the fact I've never jumped from a plane.
And Wolf is going to punch him because I don't care. You don't get to throw my girlfriend out of a plane.
And really, I think Wolf is firmly aware that he should have figured out she doesn't know how to jump because she's never been in the military. Like, that is a specialized training that spies don't get. Because we don't throw them out of planes because this is not lethal weapon. That's not how this works.
Yeah, so...
I learned how to steal information, not parachute into Normandy.
It's not my fault you took the wrong courses.
There were no courses. They held me hostage and brainwashed me. It was great, especially the part where they killed my family. Big fun. Thank you for bringing that up. How's your family doing? Like your dad.
Dad's an asshole, doesn't matter which one you pick.
And he's alive.
Mm.
How's that feel? What, you don't know that? What kind of asshole wouldn't know their dad's alive? How's that feel there, Cruiser? Oh no, Emery will just be like, oh, okay, that's fine. And Cruiser will be like, I appear to be locked out of my garage and my house, and when I went to get a hotel room, they said my credit cards are deactivated. And I tried to leave on my bike, but it's locked in my garage, which has now a steel garage door. Oh, does it now?
Yes.
Huh.
Either way, none of that has been written. We were just brainstorming out on the deck with the view of Las Vegas.
The strip and the mountain.
Yeah. And
the 30 million fucking degrees.
Somehow that all came up. And now it needs to be played. We need to see it.
But we really need to do some Amelia, too. Oh, yeah. He would never throw Amelia out the plane. He'd be like, clearly you don't go to parachuting school. And Amelia'd be like, I've parachuted 27 times.
She's a photographer.
I've parachuted 27 times. I grew up in the playgrounds everywhere. Parachuting was done for everyone. I Instagrammed
your strap
it.
Is twisted. Here, let me fix that for you.
No, she'd be good to go. She's like, I Instagrammed
it. His strap. Just like, let me fix that.
Might want to tighten that up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to have 27 pounds of torque on it, not 25.
But I'm a photographer. Then she would jump out backwards.
Mm-hmm. We're doing like a flip.
And Emery would just be like, push him right out of the fucking plane.
Happened?
Just kick him in the ass right out of the plane. I'd be like, all right, well, that felt better. I guess I can unlock all this stuff now.
Okay. So, Amelia, we need to work on.
We do.
But there are different ways to do it, and I guess the whole point is that you can plan it, you can create a huge backstory, and then I go about it by just playing it and figuring out the backstory.
Or you can merge the two.
Which is what we wind up doing.
Or ignore it until you can't anymore.
also what we wind up doing.
Truth.
Yeah.
Facts.
All right. Until next time, and if you have any questions, comments, whatever you would like about character development, hit us up.